Hey, what's happening, gamers? Welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, live on KwingsLetsPlays, brought to you by our friends over at Capcom of America, who provided a copy of this game for review, walkthrough, live stream, and crazy purposes. Crazy meaning that we do all the voices for the characters. So, yesterday, we started the second case of the second game, which is the Great Ace Attorney Adventures 2 Resolve. And today we are going to be talking to John Garadeb, and maybe Mrs. Garadeb, or maybe she's in prison, I don't know. I guess we're going to find out. And find out what's going on in the case of The Walking Dead, basically. Which is kind of weird. Oh my gosh. Oh. Hopefully you guys are having a good one.
Yeah, guys, just...
Yes.
Guys, just please try to be kind to each other in the chat.
Chat.
Just
talk
to everyone as if they're your ailing grandmother.
Ailing grandmother?
Just pretend that everyone you talk to is a fairy princess, and you hope they have a nice day.
That's weird. That's really weird, Amber.
Why is it weird? That's how I talk to people.
Okay. Alright. Oh, wow! Mr. Garadeb's room. Here we go again. The eccentric landlord's eccentric top floor abode.
We're here because Mr. Garadeb's the one who discovered the incident this morning. Don't forget.
Oh, I liked how you did Susie in her solo episode.
What? What do you want me to do?
No, cuter.
What? How can I be any cuter? I'd be really cute.
Okay, you say so. Oh, it's you chaps again, eh? Yes, good morning, sir. Thank you for your cooperation in court yesterday. It was quite a trial, wasn't it? As much for Mr. Garadeb as anyone, really. Came straight back here after all that business at the Bali yesterday. And didn't expect to wake up to more Bali nonsense this morning.
I wonder if you would mind telling us exactly what happened, Mr. Garadeb. Do I sound cute enough to you, Mr. Gary?
Mr. Gary?
Darn it!
Yes, I suppose you'd like to know all about the dead loss of an actor chap in the ground floor room. Those were exactly Inspector Gregson's words, weren't they?
Oh. Thanks for the super chats. S.A. Spurs says, are you going to play WarioWare demo?
Oh.
DK.
WarioWare demo probably tomorrow. Today is this, Mario and Luigi, or sorry, Bowser's Jr.'s Journey, and then Monster Hunter, and then I have a stream for a Titans podcast tonight. Tomorrow is Ace Attorney, Bowser Jr., and I probably can do the WarioWare demo tomorrow after Mario and Luigi, or if you guys want Amber on it, then we can do it after Ace Attorney tomorrow. That's what my schedule is. Okay, so anyway, let's examine his house, if he lets us.
All right.
There's a single apron drying on that enormous cannon-shaped horse thing. That.
Oh, no, Mr. Naruhodo. That's a real cannon.
Say what now? Oh, I knew that. I was testing you, that's all.
Uh-huh.
Piece of history, that is. Seen plenty of action on the battlefield, I can tell you. Now the old girl and I are just enjoying the peace and quiet of retirement together. Where's your wife? And of course, she'd come in handy if the enemy decided to launch an attack again. Is there a war going on that I don't know about?
That's your military uniform, isn't it, Mr. Garadeb? And great to see everyone in the chat here. OH and Renee, Brandon, Juan, and Ronan, and everyone. Anna Sensei, great to see you guys.
Hi, yeah. Anna Sensei.
Hey, Drago. Hey, Leroy. Hey, everyone.
Okay. Well, ceremonial garb, yes. Been hanging on the wall ever since my retirement bash. Not in active service now, you know. Doesn't mean much to me anymore. You could have the old thing if you wanted it.
Well, It might suit Lord Van Zeeks, perhaps. An overly ostentatious outfit like this could be just what he needs.
Very tactful, Miss Susie. Very tactful indeed.
Thank you, Ryunosuke.
Uh-huh.
Wait, why is everything more straight? It used to be more crooked.
Yeah, the wife is gone. I think she's in jail now.
Oh, a copy of the Rants magazine. The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes. It's being read all over London. Isn't it wonderful?
Naturally, one asks oneself if such a singular detective could really exist. Ha ha ha, but having met the chap, it's undeniable. He is most certainly singular. Singularly dangerous, might I add.
That's genuine public opinion for you, Miss Susie. Perhaps it should be reflected in the stories.
Make no mistake, Mr. Naruhodo. I intend to snuff out the sort of public opinion we just heard, personally.
I'm starting to see where Mr. Sholmes' untainted reputation comes from now. Okay, what else can we click on? Click, 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 click. Not the fireplace, the rug, the partition. We know what the scene, that screen is now hiding, though. The aftermath of the fiery altercation the other day.
Don't suppose I'll be able to clear that mess up for some time now.
Oh dear! This must be a very difficult situation for you.
I'll say, people talk about twists of fate and whatnot. But this is a twist and a half, a rotten show all around.
He's clearly struggling with everything that's happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. His shells. Ah yes, those enormous mortar shells. It's quite something seeing them up close, isn't it?
Didn't you say something about firing them into the barracks, Mr. Gyakuten?
Aha! You remember, do you? Just a little mishap that occurred during the training one day, have you know? What are you doing firing on your own men? The captain bellowed at me.
I'm not surprised. The little mishap doesn't really do it justice, does it?
Well, one was a little incident when one's hot-headed young private.
What? Perhaps I should put some evidence that resulted from one of my little mishaps on display.
One has these incidents when one is a hot-headed private.
Ah.
Oh, does the great lawyer, like the great detective, want to exhibit some trophies of his finest moments, Ryunosuke?
Maybe I do. Yeah, I just woke up, so I'm doing the best I can. Good to see Mr. Gyakut's Medal of Honor still proudly displayed on the wall.
The inscription reads, "For distinguished participation." If you remember.
Oh yeah, I remember, because I remember thinking even I might stand a chance of picking up honors like that.
Wouldn't know it if you look at me, perhaps, but I had my devil-may-care days, you know.
Devil-may-care? What are you up to?
What about Devil May Cry?
Devils never cry, Amber.
Oh.
Tears are a human trait.
Well, all in the past now, of course, and best left there.
Best not, I want to know now!
I want to know. He mentioned it. You piqued our interest.
You look very dashing in your uniform there, Mr. Gyakuten.
Ah, that old portrait? Drawn by an old art student who used to rent the room downstairs.
Oh, you look so wonderfully young and courageous and strong.
Yes, well, the chap presented it to me one day and asked if I'd let him off the month's rent in return.
Oh, I see. So, you did, presumably?
Bollywell did not.
Oh!
Yes, a portrait is a portrait, but rent is rent, eh?
Yet it's still there proudly on the wall. He kicked the person out. Oh, it's funny.
That's hilarious.
It is kind of funny.
He's like, thanks for the portrait, bud.
Thanks for the portrait.
Pay up or get out.
Pay up. Pay your bills, punk. There's a good view over the wintry East End from up here, isn't there? It's an oppressively gray scene that's really nothing comparable to in Japan. And down below, Briar Road. partially blanketed in snow.
And the pavement where poor Miss Green was struck in the back by that knife.
Thinking about it, this is the only room in this building that actually has a window to the outside world. Sometimes Great Britain really does seem like a strange land, doesn't it?
I suppose all foreign cultures seem strange at first. Imagine how an Englishman would feel on arriving in Japan and seeing people with a Kronmage top-knot.
Well, that's a good point.
Or Kronmage? Probably Mage. Probably not mage. Mage.
They're mages, Amber. They're wizards. Alright, what an impressive collection of cakes on that fancy silver cake stand there, yo.
A wizard top-knot.
You're a wizard.
I feel sure. What?
Nani?
What?
A what?
I feel sure that it was full of cakes when we first investigated in here as well.
No, the cake is a lie. Oh.
Yes, quite right. Haven't touched it since... Haven't done much at all, really, since it all happened. Time's rather stood still for me, you know.
He misses his wifey. Oh.
Time has stood still. Now that's an interesting phrase. I might be able to use that excuse when I'm next supposed to be tidying the office.
You could just tidy up, Mr. Naruhodo.
Susie read his mind! Holy crap!
You could just tidy up, Mr. Naruhodo.
A good woman can read her husband's
Whoa,
mind.
that's so weird that she can read what he's saying.
Yep. Well, I mean, it all depends.
Women have empathy. We have a sixth empathetic sense.
Yeah, that gets me in trouble a lot.
I think all women are empaths. Like, we have, like, mind-reading powers a little bit.
That's kind of scary. These shelves look like they've been completely torn apart by a wild beast.
Huh. Reminds me of that Battle of Midwan, don't you know?
Ah, the experience of a seasoned veteran.
Yes, enemy had us surrounded on all sides. We really thought we were done for, the whole bally of a company. We were taking a real pounding from their cannon, so all we could do was run for our lives.
Oh, I thought that story was going in a different direction, actually.
Well, the whole experience taught me one thing, I tell you. When you're done for, you're really done for.
That's not what a lawyer who often finds himself under fire wants to hear.
When you're done for, you should just give up, Luke.
Oh, never give up, never surrender. If you get kicked down in the dirt, you bring yourself back up from the dirt.
Like Andromeda spaceship show.
Yep, that's my phrase.
Never give up,
never give
surrender.
up, never surrender. YouTube puts us down, we keep going.
I get knocked down.
Ain't never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. Yep.
Also was the catchphrase on that other show. Galaxy Quest!
I said Galaxy Quest.
Oh, I said
Didn't I?
Andromeda.
What? Andromeda?
That show with, what's his name?
I think you're thinking Stargate.
That show was called Stargate?
Well, wait, what?
Wasn't there a ship on it called Andromeda? Okay, I'm wrong. Alright, let's just continue.
This morning's incident. Are you thinking Firefly?
I don't think I've ever watched Firefly, no.
Huh.
The wife needs to stop throwing knives out the window. Good idea.
That's true. It must have been a real shock for you this morning. I hear that you discovered what happened.
Oh, yes. Well, that hopeless actor chap rises at 5 o'clock in the morning, every day, without fail. But at 5:30 this morning, he still hadn't lit the gas, you see. So I went down and knocked on his door, but no bally of an answer.
It's a real thing!
I've watched this show late at night.
Oh, Kevin Sorbo's on Drawn.
He says never give up, never surrender.
Yeah.
On the show.
I remember that. Okay, all right. I remember
There
that.
was a show called Andromeda!
What year was that?
I don't know, but I watched this on a very fuzzy, cheap TV a long time ago.
I wonder if they have that on Amazon. That
It's
would be
a good
fun to
show.
own. Yeah,
That
I
is a
remember
good
that.
show.
2005. So before we got married, it ended.
First episode was in 2000, last was in 2005.
Yeah, it went on for 5 years. Okay, all right.
Andromeda. I actually liked that show. I've never seen Firefly or anything. When
I haven't even seen... Well, we have Firefly on Amazon Prime, but... Here's Susie.
And that's when you broke into this room by kicking down the door. I mean, when kicking down the door...
Well, I called on that rum-looking Japanese chap to do the grunt work, of course.
Wasn't it a little premature to kick the door down? The man could have just overslept by half an hour.
That's very true, Mr. Naruhodo. if 30 minutes oversleeping warranted such behavior...
Hey, I oversleep for hours, lady.
How dare you, K-Wing?
What?
I'll have to kick your door down every morning!
Nani?
At 2 p.m.!
2 p.m.? I'm still sleeping by 2.
Well, you know, better to be safe than sorry and all that.
Is it just me, or is he avoiding our gaze now all of a sudden?
Except that it was a sorry situation indeed that you found on the far side of the door.
Why is nobody talking about the wife? This is horrible. Okay. The victim's name is Mr. Shamspear, I believe. Is that right?
Oh, yes. William Shamspear took the ground floor from 3 months ago now.
Okay.
And how would you describe him?
How would I describe him? In a word, destitute. Oops.
Destitute?
Yes, that's right. Well, let's face it. The only redeeming feature of that room is the chap's rent. Anyone wanting to live in a place like that is either a broke or has a bally of a screw loose.
So hard to choose which category Sozeki-san would fall into.
Why
Ouch.
would you even offer that room, dude, if you know it's a horrible room? Mr. Naruhodo, that's a little rude.
Wait, it is?
He was doing research as well.
Research? Into what?
Well, Shakespeare, of course. Shakespeare! Read a few plays for the old bard myself, you know. Romeo and Hamlet and all that.
Yes, William Shakespeare is England's most highly regarded classical playwright and author. He's known as the Seo in Japanese, as you know, and many of his works have been translated. Or so.
Oh, it seems incredible that Shakespeare was shortened to,
Seo?
Seo?
I don't know.
Though someone was too heavy-handed there. That doesn't even... Why would Seo be Shakespeare? That doesn't make any sense. Wouldn't it be Sha? Or... I don't...
Sao?
Shao? I don't know. There were a lot
Shao?
of costumes in the victim's room, actually, weren't there?
Of course, Mr. Natsume is a scholar of English literature as well. I imagine he and Mr. Shamspeare would have had much in common.
Shakespeare's interpretation?
Shakespeare interpretation disagreement.
Okay.
Oh,
Shakespeare interpretation disagreement leads to shocking murder! Let's hope it's not that.
Yeah, they had a disagreement about Shakespeare. Mr. Naruhodo, really? How rude again!
How can you read my thought bubbles?
Because I'm your future wife!
That's terrifying. But also true. After Mr. Natsume's trial yesterday, you came straight back here, I believe, did you not? Did you notice anything strange between then and this morning?
Huh, well now. Must have been out about 6 in the evening by the time I got home. Snow was coming down rather heavily, as I remember, and it was completely dark already. The failed actor chap was out at the time.
Mr. Garrett noticed there was no light from his room or something, I suppose?
Couldn't summon the energy for anything much, so I just sat in front of the fire up here. It was after 8 before Shamspeare got back, and the chap was up until past 1 in the morning, I'll have you know. Suppose he met his end sometime after that. I was asleep by then, so rather in the dark there.
Well, thank you. Very illuminating, I suppose. Is everything okay, Susie?
Well, I was just thinking it's a little strange, that's all.
Yeah?
Mr. Garrideb, you were up here in your room all evening, if I understood correctly.
Not a big fan of stairs, not with this blasted leg of mine.
Then, how is it that you seem to know? The precise moments of your tenants on the ground floor, I mean.
Ah!
That's a very good point, actually. Maybe he has really good hearing. I can't imagine that you could hear noises from the ground floor all the way up here. Does this old man like to spy on his tenants? Is that it?
I say, I know what you're thinking, and it's a bally outrage. I'm ex-military, don't you know? I don't go around spying on my tenants. Why would I?
Entertainment.
Yeah, right. Then how did you know, Mr. Garadeb?
I would go around spying on my tenants. It'd be fun. It's the gas, woman. The gas tells me everything.
The gas?
What?
The gas speaks. I don't know. What on earth do you mean, sir? How does gas speak? It's just a natural, stinky commodity. How can gas tell you something, let alone everything? Oh, he probably has a meter up here. He can tell.
Well, as you're probably aware, that gas is supplied to the building by pipes.
Yeah, I'd more or less work that out, sure.
Every room in the building is connected by a single pipe to the gas main outside. And the gas company supplies gas to properties via the main.
Yeah, I understand that too, but...
Let me see if I can explain, my dear man. Let's say I was to light the gas lamps up here. What do you suppose would happen?
Well, obviously the room would get brighter, right?
Exactly, but at the same time, the lights in all the other rooms of the house would dim for a moment.
Oh, really?
What? They dim? Why?
Perhaps it's because when you light a gas lamp, it briefly uses more gas than usual. And that reduces the amount of gas in the pipe for the other lamps that are connected to it.
Oh.
That might explain why the other lamps dim momentarily, mightn't it?
Yeah, of course, because everything's connected to a single supply pipe. Now, my dad's grandma in Pennsylvania, like near Pittsburgh where they used to live, they had gas lights in the old farmhouse. Because that farmhouse was there for like generations. And part of the house was still like using the gas lamps because they were sticklers for saving money. Or whatever. That was also the family that made ice cream with the churning thing.
My grandpa has an old ice cream maker too.
Yeah.
You're not the only one with old family.
I know that. Yes, of course, because everything's connected to a single supply pipe. I just know how that stuff works because I saw it when I was little.
Is that supposed to happen though? It sounds rather undesirable.
Jolly good point. Fact is, the gas company's pipes in these parts are pretty hopeless, long worn out, and barely got any gas in them to start with. Opposite's true, of course. Extinguish the lamps up here and they glow brighter in the rest of the house.
Ah, right, I see. So by watching the flickering of the lamps in one room, you can determine what's happening elsewhere.
Ah, you've got it, by Jove.
Oh, of course! Because when people come home in the evening and before they go to sleep at night, what they're guaranteed to do is either light or put out their lamps and fires.
Clever, Susie!
Yeah, but...
In point of fact, the room on the ground floor and the one above it slightly uses different amounts of gas. By watching the lights here closely, I can work out exactly what's going on in the whole house.
Wait, how can he see the lights, though?
Gosh, that's fascinating, Mr. Garadeb. Absolutely fascinating.
Zelda doing her thing again.
Oh well, nothing to do, really.
And I can't really see how that's gonna help us either with the case, but okay. What I'd like to know, though, is why is Mr. Garadeb so interested in what tenants are up to in the first place?
Creepy.
I feel there's a lot more to it than idle curiosity.
Maybe that's nothing else to do, but he's completely bored.
It could be. Well, we've done as much investigating here as we can, I think, Susie. Perhaps we ought to go to the prison and speak with Mr. Natsumi again? No?
Oh, good idea!
Alright, well, see you two kids later.
Alright, well, thank you, Mr. Garadeb. Oh, wait, I have to present my armband. Mr. Garadeb, could I show you this?
Been quite a couple of days, as you can imagine. I'm afraid I'm rather tired. Haven't really got the energy in the old eyeballs, to be honest with you.
Some other time, then. Okay. Sorry, I just wanted to... Alright, let's go see Natsumi. I'm gonna have to talk super fast now. He's back in his same cell. Oh, poor Natsumi-san. Imps.
Ah, look, Mr. Naruhodo.
She's so excited.
Mr. Natsume, have the police finished questioning you yet?
Ah, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire! Oh, yes, what is it? What is he? Tell me! Is he a ghost? Is he here to haunt me? Let me guess, you're talking about Mr. Sholmes, right?
He actually calls himself a great detective, Mr. Natsume, not a ghost.
But his diabolical deductions, they're not of this world. They've left me. Oh, cursed! I'm cursed, I tell you. Well, that sort of hurts.
Tim says he's in the same cell. The guy cannot catch a break.
I know, right?
Credit where credit is due, Mr. Naruhodo. You were heavily involved in the deduction, too.
Yeah, but let's not tell Natsumi-san that. Moving on. We have some wonderful news. Oh!
The victim we all thought was dead has come back to life again!
Now in the absolutely worst case scenario, you could only be tried for attempted murder. That's great, isn't it, Mr. Natsume? It's terrible! Oh, what? I'm stuck in this cell, suffering for some silly wrong end of the stick! Oh, you did it, didn't you? Confess, you're a killer. Why the mustache? Constant questions! I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, the selfish shyster! Make up your mind. Are you dead? Or are you alive? If you were going to come back to life, why bother dying? Wickedly wishy-washy William!
Aww.
Well, it seems like Mr. Shamspear was never actually dead in the first place. Ah, yes, that might make sense, and I'm pleased that he's alive, of course. Our lively debate last night was much fun. It'd be sad to think it was our last. Oh.
Oh!
Whoops! Mr. Natsumi, does this mean that you did see the victim last night? You met with Mr. Shamspear, didn't you? Oops! I'm not saying another word! I demand to have a lawyer present! Who do you think I am? Please, Mr. Natsumi, we need to hear your side of the story. Oh, why am I cursed like this? Good question. Okay. Can we examine his cell? No. Can only talk to him. What really happened? Okay, can you tell us exactly what happened last night when you were talking with him, Mr. Natsumi? There's nothing to tell! But, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, I am eternally grateful to you for helping me with that accursed case yesterday! That case that saw poor Miss Green hospitalized after she ended up with a knife in her back. Ooh.
It's hard to believe that this was only yesterday.
After the trial was over, I trudged my weary way back to my lowly lodgings. And that evening at past 9, it must have been, I was visited by Mr. Shamspear. So you did go to the victim's room then?
As we feared.
I didn't do anything wrong! I'd never been to his room before. It was the first time. Then what made you decide to go? I bumped into him when I arrived back at the house. We got chatting and it developed into a discussion. But he had to go out, so I bade him farewell. That ties in with what Mr. Garrett said, that the victim went out and came back after 8. We met again later that evening around 9, or just after, when I took him some tea I had just brewed as a gift. So it was you who brought the tea that had been clearly drunk at the scene then?
And I suppose you were discussing the works of Shakespeare, were you, Soseki?
Yes, that's right. That is exactly right. Romeo and Juliet! Who was the stronger? It was a delightful debate.
I'm sure.
Okay. Such a stimulating subject, Shakespeare! Okay. And, the debate became very heated, so you slipped poison into Mr. Shamspear's tea? No! No, never! Not at all!
Oh no!
Team Juliet won! That was me! And then I left his room. The flamboyant fellow was fighting fit, I swear it, categorically.
Yeah, categorically.
Yeah. Okay, so how did he end up being poisoned then? I don't understand. He was faking it? Mr. Natsumi, you often say the same thing about yourself, I've noticed. That you have a cursed existence? Oh, I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but I've been here in Great Britain for a year now, and in that time I have learned that it is no place for me.
Aww.
I can be very tiring to live in a foreign land and adapt to the ways of another culture. There are foreigners everywhere I look, and they all stare at me and they all laugh. That's the impression I get whenever I go out. It makes me scared to leave my room. Oh, which is why I become a recluse. But even in my room, I find no respite from my fears. I have moved more times than I can remember, and then 1 week ago, I moved into Briar Road. But why, I mean, why did you choose this place? It doesn't seem very comfortable. Because the rent is cheap. I have little money to speak to me.
Oh, the rent?
Obviously, there is a chance. Reason why it's cheap. Because the room is cursed. Cursed? Cursed how? The previous occupant, the man who lived there before I took the room, died there.
Oh, no!
He was only a young man, but one morning he was found dead and no one could explain why. Surely no one would want to live in a room with a history like that.
Oh, wow.
I didn't. When the letting regent recommended the place, I wavered. But I want books. Books can cost money. Horrible history is a small price to pay.
Aww.
When I realized I would mean I could buy more books, I signed the lease like a lightning. Wow, brave or blinkered.
He loves books.
But after I moved in, I soon came to realize what I had done. He realized how horrible the room was, the history really was.
Gosh, was it really so awful, Soseki?
Yes! Horrible history.
Yeah, I think so too, Droggle. I think that he was practicing for Romeo and Juliet.
Yep.
How did the room's horrible history affect you, Mr. Natsumi? What happened?
At first, it was just a feeling. The feeling of beady eyes boring into my back, watching me. Do you think that might just have been your mind playing tricks on you? No. My mind doesn't know any tricks. It was someone else. It's been a long nightmare ever since I was given the keys to the place. A nightmare? You've been having bad dreams, you mean? All the souls who've died in that room, I lean over me in my sleep and try to strangle me! That really is horrible.
Wow, that's disturbing.
And now I come to think of it, it happened again last night too. The very same night that Mr. Shamspear was writhing in agony from the poison in his body. I was on the verge of being suffocated silently by those miserable spirits in my room!
Oh my gosh.
You simply must move out. Oh, wow. That's Susie.
You simply must move out of that room as soon as possible.
Yes, you're right. I know it. And that's why. I'm already searching for my next room with a history to call home.
I think perhaps you should try avoiding a combination with any kind of history at all, Soseki. Otherwise, I'm scared that you yourself may become history.
Yeah. Whew, Susie knows how to make the man listen.
She's basically telling him he might die if he doesn't get out of the room.
Of course. Mr. Lord of the Manor is worried about the curse on my room as well. You mean Mr. Garadeb? Yes, he knows that if people keep dying there, he'll never be able to rent it out again. Well, that's true. I, for one, wouldn't go near a place like that.
Ah, perhaps. That may explain why the landlord pays so much attention to the gas lamps and his tenants' movements.
You mean because he's worried about their well-being? He does seem to have an unusually keen interest in the amount of gas in the pipes. There must be a reason why he keeps such close tabs on the occupants of his rooms. What do you mean he pays so much attention to the gas lamps?
Oh dear! No, it's nothing to do with you, Mr. Natsume. Please forget that we said anything at all.
Oh, now you're talking about me behind my back as well. What's important is that, Mr. Shamspear isn't dead. In fact, he's fine. Once he comes around, he'll be able to tell us what happened. We'll be able to get you released. Yes, please. I do hope you're right. Excuse me? It's this guy, okay.
Constable.
Inspector Gregson.
I couldn't help overhearing what you just said, and on that note, I have some good news and some bad news.
Oh?
He was creepily listening the whole time.
Which do you want to hear first?
Always, every time! The bad news comes first! When hope is all you have, hold on to it! That's my guiding principle!
Alright then, well, in that case, the good news it is.
Huh?
Sorry, but it's just a lot easier to explain everything that way.
Oh, then why did you ask me my preference?
As you might have heard, the victim, Mr. Shamspear, was just unconscious. He's come around now.
Yeah, we saw it happen in all its terrifying glory, actually.
Right then, he's still been treated by the doctors, but we've managed to get a written statement from him already.
Oh, isn't this wonderful, Mr. Natsume?
Oh, thank goodness. It's all over then. I can leave this somber cell.
No, sorry, that's not on the cards.
What?
Why ever not, Inspector?
Well, Mr. Shamspears implicated someone as being responsible for what happened last night.
Implicated someone?
Oh dear.
You don't mean...
I'm sorry to say I do, yes. He's pointed the finger at you, Mr. Natsui.
Ah!
What? But he didn't do anything.
By sweet poison did he seeketh to end my life. That wicked caitiff, Suzeki Natsume.
No!
So I'm afraid you'll be appearing in court as planned. You'll be wanting to make the necessary preparations, of course.
This is so wrong.
No!
I think the guy was just being a jerk.
Yep.
Trying to get him in trouble even though he took the poison himself.
And so, once again, Sozeki-san found himself having to take the dock in the Old Bailey. Whenever his room was haunted, or whatever he just terribly is unlucky, I knew I had no choice. The following day, I would represent him in court, and do my utmost to break the curse that blighted him. Way to go, Naruhodo.
I know, right?
Nope, it's too early. Moving on to the next part of the case.
Darn it, Shomes, but then Ryunosuke is equally at fault. And great to see you. Thanks so much for watching from France. Luigi44, great to see you. Thanks so much. Bonjour. Bonjour, Luigi.
Bonjour.
Hope you're having a great day. Hoping you're having a très bien day. I think that très bien, that's right.
22nd of February, 9:23 a.m., the Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. Ah, the Old Bailey. This place makes me feel strange every time. It seems to get chills down my spine and break out in a nervous sweat all the time. Well, I didn't think I'd be back here so soon.
That's my line.
Oh, wait, sorry. Good morning! Ah, good morning, Mr. Natsumi. It was only just 2 days ago that I was declared not guilty here. Yeah, we somehow managed to prove he didn't stab Miss Green in the back. But now this! Another morning, another murderer! And here I am again in this stupid stinkhole! Can't keep coming to court! I'm beginning to think he's right. It really does seem as though he's cursed. Whoa!
Mr. Naruhodo, I'm afraid I have bad news. Oh!
Huh?
Mr. Natsume, good morning.
Yes, morning.
So, here we are again.
Yes, again. Oh my god. Oh. Judicial Assistant Miss Mika Tomax Esquire, what's the bad news?
Oh, Oh, dear. Oh, you heard, did you?
If you come in shouting at the top of your voice, people can't help but hearing what you say!
I'm sorry.
You've done nothing wrong, Susie. Now, what is it? What's going on?
Well, it seems that the prosecution in today's trial will be led by Lord Barak Van Zeeks.
Van Zeeks again? Ah! No.
What a coincidence! He was your prosecutor last time!
Yes, by popular demand, I'm back.
Oh no.
The so-called Reaper of the Bailey, the most legendary prosecutor in the land. In the trial 2 days ago, he pursued Soseki-san and I relentlessly. Of course, by the skin of our teeth, we managed to pull through, but still...
Perhaps Mr. Natsume's acquittal in the last trial wasn't the end of the matter, after all.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking. The legend of the Reapers that says, nothing can save a person in the dock when Lord Van Zeeks is a prosecutor. Oh no!
Oh no. That, even if the person is not found not guilty, the accused will meet a mysterious end, one way or another.
Stop talking like this in front of me! And we've experienced it firsthand, actually. A man who was successfully defended met a terrifying end after his acquittal right here in the Old Bailey.
Oh, Soseki is so cute. I could just give him a hug.
Ah! Do I have to put up with those ice-cold eyes boring into my soul again? Cursed by evil spirits and now by the Reaper!
Oh!
Pair of petrifying perils, potentially!
Well, if it's potentially, at least you appear to have hope, Mr. Natsume.
Magnum student, Mr. Naruhodou Esquire! Yes, what is it? I'm innocent, you have to believe me! You more than anyone now. Don't worry. I'll be your steadfast ally every step of the way in this battle, I promise. And this promise is to be a hard battle, I fear.
I was just thinking, if you're about to go into court, wouldn't it be better to sit down because you're gonna just stand the whole time when you're in there? Well, the trial is scheduled to begin shortly. We should move into the courtroom.
Let's go.
Oh yes, I forgot to say.
What, more?
I'm afraid he won't be able to make it. Mr. Sholmes, I mean.
Huh? That's probably for the best.
Oh!
If he were here, I might be tempted to rely on his help. And that would be seen as weakness if Lord Van Zeeks were to notice. He'd prey on it mercilessly. At least, that's my gut feeling anyway.
Mr. Naruhodo!
Why so rough with her little head? She likes that? Okay.
I think so.
You're right! Yes, you're so right! Oh, well said, Mr. Naruhodou Esquire, well said! I swear on this sword at my side, and on the spirit of Kazuma that it harbors, I'll show him what a Japanese lawyer can do. I'll set you free with honor.
Oh, yes!
Do. Oh my gosh. 22nd of February, 9:40 a.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. Oh wow, we've got a whole cast of people that we've done before. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare the court to be in session. I now call upon the counsel for the prosecution and the defense to declare their willingness to proceed. Yes, I am back. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready too, my lord. Readiness for the trial, my learned friend, is not what the defense needs. No. What you need is readiness for your inevitable defeat. Huh? It's not just in my imagination. It's really there. Lord Van Zeeks has such an animosity towards us Japanese for some reason. Amber.
It was only some time ago now that he first became known as the Reaper of the Bailey, I believe. These past few years, he hasn't appeared in court at all.
Yet now he's... Oh, sorry. And now he's back in that courtroom, though, for some reason. Only when I'm defending, though. This Reaper, with his curious disdain for us Japanese, is a prosecutor shrouded in mystery. Breathe in, breathe out. Still, this isn't the time to be pondering that. I have to concentrate on Soseki-san's trial.
Yes, furthermore, I now call upon 6 ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You have been chosen at random to represent the will of the people in this trial. Are you ready to fulfill your duty? Absolutely! I have a feeling this lawkishness wasn't innocent before.
Oh, they're all back.
I must say, I feel especially ruthless on days when my hat refuses to sit right.
Oh, well, I rather like how you're wearing your hat. I think the ruthless look is very fetching, actually.
I need to be somewhere at 10 o'clock. I have a very important meeting. Make it quick.
Oi, I couldn't agree more. I need to get home to 5 bob tonight, or the missus will go through the roof throwing things at me.
Oh, may the Lord show us the light. Lead us to his flock to a righteous verdict. Wow, the British jury system is so different to our own, isn't it? It's quite extraordinary to think that the power of judgment is in the hands of 6 members of the public, and that the judge can only pass sentence when all the jurors are in agreement about the defendant's guilt.
Hi, kitty.
Yeah, I agree, Droggle. We don't know how many cases that he may have done since he defended Soseki. Yeah, that's a good point.
6 citizens of London chosen at random, or at least that's the idea.
The prosecution would draw attention to the fact that the accused was on trial here but 2 days ago. Accordingly, where possible, the same jurors have been asked to return for duty today.
Oh.
Very well then, let us commence with the trial. Lord Van Zieks, your opening statement if you please. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it is not the intent of the prosecution to cast doubt over your past decision. However, the innocent verdict afforded to this eccentric Nipponese before he had his dire consequences. Did the accused repent from his wrongdoing in that affair? Far from it. Instead, he used his freedom to perpetrate a most blood-curdling crime, namely, the attempted murder of his neighboring lodger, an innocent Englishman. To explain the circumstances of the crime, the prosecution calls its first witness to the stand. There goes my cape.
Oh.
No capes. The detective responsible for investigating the scene, the accursed himself.
Oh, this guy again.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Witnesses, your names and occupations, please.
Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard's Homicide Division.
Whoa! Soseki Natsumi from the Empire of Japan! My government ordered me to come here as a student to study your language and culture. Mr. Natsume? Yes, your lordship, yes. I'm quite sure I'm not mistaken. That you swore an oath never to set foot in my courtroom again. I remember it as if it were yesterday. The day before, in fact, my lord, but close enough. Oh, believe me, this is the last place I want to be. Inspector, let's hear from you first. Explain the case for the court.
So many voices for you.
Right you are, sir.
The incident occurred at the Geradev household where the defendant has his lodgings. In the ground room floor of the victim, Mr. William Shamspeare, the defendant had already admitted to visiting the victim on the night in question. Mr. Shamspeare collapsed in his room as a result of poisoning by strychnine. What? However, he was found the following morning when the landlord, suspecting something was wrong, broke down the door. This means, I presume, that the door to the victim's room was locked at the time of the incident. Yes, correct, my lord. It was locked from the inside, making entry to the exit from the room impossible.
Although the victim, Mr. Shakespeare, lives to tell the tale. It very nearly didn't. The man was halfway to heaven when we first found him. I was the first officer on the scene, my lord. And I have a photographic print here that took at the time to show how it looked. Look, it's in color.
I really think this is a Romeo and Juliet thing.
Yes, a chilling scene indeed. The man looks very deceased.
That's right. Everyone present believed that exactly what he was.
Next time, check for a pulse.
Somebody said they saw a broken wall.
Yep.
Very well then, I shall accept this photographic print as evidence for the court.
Yes, Kiri, there is a broken wall. Very interesting.
Yep. The crime scene photograph has been entered into the court record.
Now then, Mr. Natsume.
Oh, yes! Yes!
As the defendant, do you have anything to say at this juncture?
Oh, they're haunted! Haunted by evil spirits!
Good gracious, what's haunted?
My lodgings! There's been a whole series of strange happenings in my lodgings! The tenant before me died in mysterious circumstances. A woman was stabbed by no one on the street outside. My neighbor was poisoned. And me? What about me? I was nearly killed countless times.
Killed, Mr. Natsume? How?
Even on that fateful night, it happened when I returned from Mr. Shamspeare's room. I lit my gas stove and climbed into bed, but before long, the stove went out, and somebody tried to kill me!
Creepy.
You must always extinguish all fires before retiring for the night, Mr. Natsume.
But it's so cold, my runny nose would freeze! The point is, I didn't poison my neighbor! Oh, why am I being accused of this? Why is my existence so cursed?
Thank you, witness. I believe I have a reasonably clear picture of the events.
And, hold it, I just want to say something. What if the reason why Natsume feels like he's being strangled is because he can't breathe because of a gas leak? Like maybe he's being asphyxiated from, like, something wrong with the gas. And maybe...
Yeah, there could be a gas leak.
The guy who was poisoned also had a gas problem.
Maybe he actually got knocked out from the gas.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking, yeah. Because, I mean, it would feel like you're being strangled because Amber and I have lived through a gas leak. I know what it's like to feel like being strangled at night.
Yeah, we actually...
Our first apartment.
We had a gas leak in our apartment for, like, almost several weeks. We didn't even know
it was a month, actually.
It was a month of...
It was a whole month.
The gas was leaking for a month.
Yep. What happened was the stupid landlord installed our air conditioner right by our stove, and the air conditioner blew out the pilot light. So Amber and I would keep complaining of headaches and stuff, and one night I was so sick to go to work, I stayed there all day, and by the time Amber came home, I couldn't breathe, and then that night we called the ambulance, went to the hospital, and they told me that I had natural gas poisoning, and that's how we found out that there was a problem with the stove. If we hadn't, we could have been living there much longer. But yeah, so that's my theory. I'm sticking to it. Could be different, but anyway, time in.
Thank you, witnesses. I believe I have a reasonably clear picture of the events. Yes, if I could raise one more point, my lord. One more conclusive point. Yes, counsel, go on. Fortunately, the victim from Mr. Shakespeare has regained consciousness after his ordeal. And he has named the true culprit. Uh-oh.
It would feel like your head's being squeezed if you...
Oh, yeah.
Gas leak.
Yep. Your head, your neck, your chest.
The poison consumed by the victim was administered in a cup of tea that he drank on the night in question. The tea, my lord, that was brought to the victim's room by the accused.
But he also drank the tea.
The accused? Good grief!
But he also drank the tea.
Oh wait, people are wondering if we switched the title.
Huh?
Resolve Night of the Living Dead.
I like the title. The guy woke up.
Yeah, so we changed it because the story changed.
Yeah, I mean, the guy woke up, so, yeah.
Order!
Yes, that's the crux of this whole case. If Soseki-san is innocent, then why? Why was the victim accused?
Well then, Mr. Natsumi, what have you to say for this accusation?
That evening, yes, I did take some freshly brewed tea with me when I visited Mr. Shamspeare's room as a gift. The public water pump outside always freezes at night, so I brought boiled water, especially to make it. And this is the result! I never will touch tea again! Never!
He was trying to be nice.
The public pump was frozen, you say?
That's not information we've heard before.
That will do, thank you very much. Now then, according to our laws, the defense must have the opportunity to cross-examine the witness at least once. Therefore, I call upon these witnesses now for a formal testimony. I presume the prosecution has no objections.
The prosecution, none whatsoever, my lord.
Good gravy. All right, then we'll give you your account of the events on the night in question to the court now. Remember, you're under oath.
Yes, my lord. He's so eccentric but fun. The witness's testimony. Catastrophic night.
Yeah, the tea, you're right, Ethan. Soseki also drank the tea, so he would have
been poisoned too.
That doesn't make any sense. If he made tea for both of them, there's no way Soseki could have poisoned him because they both drank the tea.
I'm actually going to change the title because I like that. That's kind of cool. Well, part of the title.
What?
Catastrophic.
The catastrophic night.
Wow. How do you... T-R-O-P-H-I-C? Yeah. Catastrophic night. Whoops, that says light. There we go. And I may end up changing it again, but that works. Okay, here we go. Dun, 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 dun. It was around 9 in the morning that evening when I visited my neighbor, and I took some tea with me as a gift. We had heated literary debate over... a nice hot drink. I had hiccups, after which I went back to my room at around 11. My tea was completely harmless. He couldn't have locked the door behind me otherwise, could he?
Strychnine takes some time to have an effect on the body. People don't keel over immediately after taking it. The victim would have been perfectly able to lock the door after his guest left. The argument still stands.
But where would he get strychnine?
All right then, yes, I see. It all seems relatively straightforward.
Excuse me, but that testimony does raise one rather crucial point, I think. Mr. Natsumi claims his tea to have been harmless, presumably, though the teacups have been examined for traces of the poison, haven't they?
Why didn't I think of that?
Well, as it so happens, no, we haven't been able to,
What?
Did I hear correctly, Inspector? Scotland Yard has failed to examine the suspect's substance?
How could you have overlooked something so important? Isn't that the first thing you should have done? My learned friend is falsely incensed. Huh? What now? The inspector said Scotland Yard was unable to examine the tea, not that it was overlooked. Unable? Why?
It's simple enough. There was none left, not a drop. Someone must have been very thirsty indeed.
With current scientific techniques, it is not possible to test for poison under such circumstances.
We only need a drop, but that one drop actually does have to exist, funnily enough. Yes.
That's so weird.
The lack of examination notwithstanding, it appears nothing other than the tea passed the victim's lips on the night in question.
That makes no sense. There would be a molecule of water.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, unless you actually took a paper towel and dried it like crazy.
I see. Thank you for the matter as clear now.
Cast your eyes over the jury, my learned friend. Huh? What? You can see it in their faces, I'm sure. The recognition of the accused's guilt. Your client's fate is all but sealed. In mere moments from now, you will lose, and your compatriot will be doomed for eternity. He's right. I can feel all 6 jurors looking daggers at me. Ow! But I can't let them beat me now. I won't.
Counsel for the defense, proceed with your cross-examination, if you please.
Yes, my lord, I will do just that.
Cross-examination time.
Dun dun.
Dun dun dun
The
dun.
Catastrophic
The
night.
catastrophic night.
It was around 9 in the morning, or in the evening, or whatever, who cares? Hang on a second. Were you and your neighbor good friends then? Ah, no! We aren't friends! Not at all, not at all! Never, ever! A simple no would have sufficed. Then, why did you decide to pay him a visit? Mr. Shakespeare fancies himself as having great literary knowledge. As a fellow scholar of English literature, we find much to talk about together. Come now, my Nipponese friend, could understand the finer points of English literature. What? And on the night in question, that was the topic of conversation as well, I presume. It was the day of the last trial when I was acquitted. I had just arrived back at my home when I ran into Shakespeare outside on the street. That was around 6 o'clock at night. We exchanged 1 or 2 pleasantries, but it soon turned into a heated discussion. He was on his way out at the time, though. So I promised to visit his room in the evening at 9 to continue our debate. But did I have ill intentions? No! Not one! Not two! Not any! Not at all! Never! Ever!
He was trying to be nice. A simple no would have sufficed, I feel.
He's very eccentric.
Then tell the court, my eccentric friend, what happened when you visited the victim's room.
Dun, dun. We had a heated literary debate. Hang on a sec.
Hold it!
A literary debate, huh? About Shakespeare's work, I think you said, didn't you?
Shakespeare? Ah, very worthy topic of conversation, I must say.
Yes, yes, my lord. Romeo and Juliet! Who was stronger? It was profoundly a pleasurable parley.
Romeo and Juliet? Who was stronger?
I know I'm gonna regret asking this, but how did the debate go? Well, we both agreed that we would reach a conclusion more quickly with a reenactment. So we battled it out in Greco-Roman style, naturally. What? Mr. Shakespeare had all sorts of costumes in his room for such a contest. So when you say a reenactment, you mean you were actually in costume? He was Romeo, I as Juliet, and after a vigorous, wild tussle, I as Juliet came out on top. A victory I'll cherish forever.
I dare not imagine this terrible scene of carnage and crazy cosplay. The fact remains that it was you who prepared the tea and took it to the victim, correct?
I boiled the water in my room and made a pot to take with me. I'd heard that he was poor to have a tea himself, you see. It's true, there was no sign of any tea leaves in the man's room. I wanted to do something nice, to be friendly. So why is everyone looking at me with such suspicion? My tea was harmless. Of course it was.
And you have any basis for that statement, witness?
My tea was completely harmless. Just say you drank it too, you idiot. Hold it. My gosh. Yes, there was not a drop of tea left in the victim's room anywhere, now was there?
That's correct. Anyone would think the fellow had never had a pot of tea before. He must have licked it dry. Which is a pity, because no drop is all we could have needed to analyze it for poison.
And you said that you returned home to your room at 11 o'clock, Mr. Natsume? Yes, definitely. By heaven and earth, I swear it.
The landlord was able to verify that, as it happens. He confirmed the defendant went back to his room at 11 that night. And how was the landlord able to attest this? He said it was the lamps, I believe. The lamps? Inspector, please explain. Did the lamps speak to him or something?
When tenants return to their rooms and start using gas, the lamps in other parts of the house flicker.
Yes, Mr. Gyakuten seemed to pay a lot of attention to the comings and goings of his tenants.
There's only one way to keep Shamspear's room. I know that for certain. Only one key, so he must have locked the door himself from inside his room.
The victim has confirmed that to be the case, yes.
So I'm right. My tea was harmless, completely harmless. If you take poison, you die. Everyone knows that.
It's not that simple, I'm afraid.
Oh, what do you mean?
Strychnine takes some time to have an effect on the body. People don't keel over immediately after taking it.
I don't want to know this information.
No, I don't want to know this either. How long does it take for symptoms to appear then?
Accordingly to the coroner I was speaking to at the yard, about 30 minutes after the poison's consumed. Then the victim suffers violent convulsions, cramping, and stiffness, and eventually dies from asphyxiation.
Oh, that's something I never wanted to know. There's a 30-minute interval between when the poison is ingested and the onset of symptoms. There seems to be a lot of different types of poison in the world, that's for sure.
Oh dear, death by poisoning again. It's always so awful.
Yep. 30 minutes is a long time. Certainly long enough for the victim to have locked the door behind the accused after he left. You can't deny that, and it further degrades Natsume's alibi too.
I have the medical report from the doctor who examined the victim here, my lord. It spells it out, really. The accused is the only person who could have done it. Yes, very well. The court will now add this report to the court record as evidence.
Victim's medical report has been entered into the court record.
Oh yes, I see it here. Delayed onset of symptoms.
Huh? Great.
The victim would have been perfectly able to lock the door after his guest left. The argument still stands.
Hold it! The argument still stands, you say?
Yes, this is what Mr. Natsume has been saying, isn't it? The pair of them drank tea together that night, so if there was poison in it, the victim wouldn't have been able to lock the door after the accused later left.
Exactly! Me and my tea are innocent, sweet and innocent, I tell you!
Oh, poor Natsume.
I'm afraid, sir, that doesn't follow. You see, strychnine is a slow-acting poison. In other words, it takes time for symptoms to appear.
But wouldn't he be dead too?
How do you know it was strychnine?
So you could have left the room by 30 minutes after the victim had drank the tea.
Why is he saying it's strychnine? They didn't find any examples of anything.
I don't know.
And as long as you did that, Mr. Shamspear could have locked the door after you had gone.
Oh, but no! We drank the tea straight away. We drank right there. The battle over whether Romeo or Juliet was stronger. That came after the tea. Do you have any evidence to support that statement? Evidence? In my great homeland, the Empire of Japan, we have a saying. Drink tea while it's hot. Sure, a proverb will satisfy the prosecution.
I'm afraid there's no conclusive proof to support the defendant's assertion. On the contrary, there are significant grounds to infer his guilt in this matter.
No. That's the extent of their testimony, is it?
If I could voice a personal opinion, Mr. Naruhodo.
Of course, go ahead, Susie.
Mr. Natsume is arguing for his innocence so adamantly and so persistently. Yet Inspector Gregson just brushes off what he says aside. It's really quite infuriating.
I agree. So what we need to find is an inconsistency in what the inspector is saying, I think.
I'm afraid so. As things stand, the jurors are sure to find Mr. Natsume guilty as this stands.
As I see it, what we need is to focus on the poison and the tea. Let's listen carefully to the testimony again. Okay. Alright.
I think when he says we drank the tea, I think we should say hold it and like press him on that.
Well, first let's go to the court record.
Okay.
Oh, we do have the teacups. They're 2 teacups.
Yep. Honestly, it's surprising they wouldn't have found a molecule of water on either one. That's really dumb. This is the teacup from which Mr. Natsume was drinking.
Yeah, unlike the other one, the inside of the cup is completely clean.
I suppose he must have drunk the contents before the tea had a chance to leave a mark.
I always gulp it down too.
Sorry, Mr. Naruhodo.
Well, if you just sip it a little by little, it gets cold.
Clearly, I shall have to instruct you in the proper way to take tea.
You'll have a lifetime, Susie. But you won't change him. He's a
Yeah.
lost cause.
Men don't change after they get married. It's true.
They just get happier.
Women always think they can change them, but they never can.
I don't know what to say to that. My life is very rich with you in it. This must be the the words. This must be the cup that Mr. Words, tongue twisters. Blah. This must be the same cup that Mr. Shamspear was drinking from then. It's stained on the inside.
Tea does that, I'm afraid. Even green tea.
Oh yeah, really? I've never noticed before.
You've never noticed ever?
Well, I've never leave it in the cup long enough to leave a mark. I like to gulp it down. Drink tea while it's hot. That's the Japanese way, isn't it?
Oh dear, so many people seem to have the wrong idea about our culture. And most of them are Japanese!
Okay.
So, if it left a mark, it would have... You can't leave a mark unless you have a molecule of the tea on there.
There is a molecule of the tea. Why didn't they examine it?
I know.
They're kind of dumb.
They could have...
Can't find anything out of place. Right?
I mean, I don't know why, but when we were examining the soap at the first trial, I didn't know if I should tell you because lots of people were saying this in the chat, but they kept saying it's not soap.
It's not soap?
But I don't know what that means.
I don't...
I don't know if it is soap or it's not.
Maybe it's food.
Can't they just examine that stain for the poison, says Kiri?
You would think so.
Yeah, totally. That's very sweet of you, Akira, to help Luigi44 and talk to him in French. I'm sorry, I don't have time to do Google Translate, but if anybody would like to try chatting with our friend Luigi in Google Translate, using Google Translate in French, you guys can definitely
we had a
give it
heated
try.
literary debate over a nice hot drink, after which I was back at my room.
Turn the soap around, people said.
Turn the soap around? You can turn the soap?
Check the bottom of the soap. Check the soap around.
Oh!
What is it, Mr. Naruhodo?
This bar of soap. When we first found it, I could have sworn there was some sort of round disc in the depression that's here, a reddish one.
Yes, you're right. I remember it too. But now the depression is completely empty.
Where could the disc have gone? Details of the bar of soap has been updated in the court record. Well, that's good. We got to check that. That'll be important later, probably.
Yeah.
That's the victim's autopsy. Ingestion of small quantity of strychnine, toxic offense. Yeah, but even a little bit of strychnine would kill you.
I don't even understand. Why does it say that strychnine?
I don't know.
Maybe there was poison in the letter.
Whoever opened this envelope didn't bother with a letter opener.
Yes, whoever opened it was clearly someone with an unrefined temperament. And judging from this angle of the rip here, the person in question must have been right-handed.
Miss Susie, I think perhaps someone's been reading too much of the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes.
You can never read too much of it, Mr. Naruhodo. Never! It's amazing!
Okay.
Actually, that's kind of how I rip open letters, so I guess I'm kind of barbaric.
Yeah, you're not really gentle with letter opening. That's okay, though. Alright, so what do we present, then?
Thank you, AJ Gaming and Akira. It's really nice of you guys.
Tea was completely harmless.
Thanks for chatting with Luigi. I really appreciate that, guys. And thanks so much for watching from France, Luigi44. Hope you're having a wonderful day, my friend. Great to see you guys in the chat. Hello, Kiri, Goki45, Nightwing, Great to see you, AJ Gaming, Prince Blue, Tim, Amber is barbaric and dark, says Kiri. Yeah, kind of. Hey, OH, X90, Ronan, Christina. Christina said earlier, no, don't wake Luke up at 2, he won't get any sleep. That was very sweet of you, Christina.
Alright, I'm gonna try to present something.
Hello, Rebecca and DRA22. Great to see you guys. And Droggle and Anna. Hey, everyone.
Objection.
Oops. I hit the wrong button. Sorry. Mr. Natsumi, you say it was 11 p.m. when you left to return to your room, correct? Yes! And Inspector Gregson, can we rely on the information in the medical report completely?
Of course we can. There's no problem with the report, Sunshine.
Actually, I think there's a very big problem. Because there's a chronological inconsistency between it and the defendant's testimony.
A chrono what? What are you blabbering about, boy?
According to this report, I actually got it right by guessing. According to this report, the victim must have consumed the poison at around 1:30 in the morning, correct? And yet... Oh, I understand now. The defendant, Mr. Natsumi, left the victim's room at 11.
Ah!
Yes, that's right. There's more than 2 hours of missing time there.
No.
Exactly. In other words, if there was poison in the tea that Mr. Natsumi brought to the victim's room, how could the victim have fallen ill 2.5 hours after the defendant left? Why would they both be?
That means he got, I know. That means he got poisoned 2.5 hours after he left.
The defense's argument is entirely reasonable. How do you respond, Lord Van Jeeks?
Let me take a drink of the poison liquid known as alcohol for my bloodstream. You're gonna throw it. Pray forgive the discourtesy if my mind has wandered. I was considering what cuisine would best complement the contents of my hollowed chalice this lunch. What? How could it have happened, you ask? I do hate to shatter illusions, but my Nipponese friend appears to be chasing a phantom idea. A phantom? What? Yes. Is it so hard to imagine that the victim drank his tea after the accused had left? For example, at the time stated in the medical report, yes, around 1:30.
Objection.
No.
Objection!
Mr. Natsumi brought the tea with him to drink together with his neighbor. And in Japan, there is a well-known saying, drink tea while it's hot.
Objection.
And in my country, there's an even more apt saying. There is nothing more refreshing than cold tea.
That is not true.
The point is, if it were such a long gap, there may be other ways to explain how the victim came to be poisoned. Other possibilities.
What sort of possibilities, Consul?
Well, for example, the man could have had another visitor.
Another visitor? It's a very bold assertion, my learned friend, from someone who has nothing to substantiate it.
Or the victim could have taken the poison of his own volition.
You suggest this may have been suicide, Consul?
Objection!
Mr. Shamspeare has categorically denied suicide. The idea can and must be discounted.
Objection.
But he could be lying.
He could be lying to try to get his friend in trouble. Because he was mad at him for losing the battle with Romeo and Juliet.
Wow, that's petty.
No, I think that's the reason.
Is something wrong, Lord Dracula? I was listening to the sound of the carriage pulling up outside the courtroom. Pray forgive the discourtesy.
Carriage? What carriage?
Nani?
Oh my gosh. It would appear the key player in this case has just arrived.
Hold it.
Who?
The victim himself.
Out, out, brief candle! Life's but a walking shadow.
Oh no.
Poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more!
I'm just trying to be a bad actor because this guy's terrible, so...
Yeah.
It's a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
He doesn't look like a very good actor. He looks like a freak, no offense.
Yeah.
Whose son are you exactly? William Shakespeare, my lord. Alas, 'twas I undone by these bitter events. I am the victim. What is he doing here?
I think he made this all up so he could play the greatest part of all time. Himself.
The prosecution seeks to call these gentlemen to the stand. With his testimony, my friends, futile resistance will be utterly crushed. Ugh! You're calling him as a witness? Well, this sucker's got even more rambunctious. Very well, counsel, I grant your request with interest. I'm curious to discover what the court shall hear from the victim himself.
Oh no. You think he's playing a part, huh, Amber?
Happy I am, Shakespeare, to regale thee with my tale of woe, my lord.
It's like he's writing his own reality show.
But, I still have my own tale to tell. My own tale of worst foe. I can regale the court with tale of my perfect innocence. Perfect in English. That will do, Mr. Natsumi. Let the court now hear from the victim.
Oh no. Oh. Who's that guy?
I don't know.
Alright, so that's Mr. Shakespeare, huh? But who's that other guy beside him?
Some weirdo. Yeah, I feel sure that we've caught a glimpse of that man before, Ryunosuke.
State your names and occupations for the court, please, witnesses. A writer of words so sweet that I do scent in the breeze, an inventor of ideas so profound they compose the earth. The unraveled poet, the unmatched scribe, William Shakespeare, with a great bard to recall new life, though what a magnificent man. Good fellows, I am he who ponders such a miracle, William Shakespeare.
Oh, my name's, Metron Man. Edwin Metro Man.
Meter man.
He's the
meter
guy,
man. He checks the meter.
Oh, he checks the meter.
The gas meter outside.
Oi, I'm the meter man. Hello. I work for the gas company at East End branch office.
Ah, I remember you now. It was yesterday on Briar Road.
Ah, yes, she's right. It's him. Oh, what's this? Well, what's that man doing over there? He looks like he's trying to see into Sozeki's lodgings.
Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodou?
Excuse me? Could we have a word, please? Ah.
Well, why would he be creepily... You're just supposed to check the meter outside. You're not supposed to go in their house.
I don't know.
Because there's meter people all the time that check our...
Yeah, we've spotted him outside Mr. Garadub's house that morning. And he's a gas company employee. What does he have to do with this case, I wonder?
So, Mr. William Shakespeare, you are the victim in this miserable affair, is that correct? Oh, heaven, oh, hell! Do you command me to remember? That sweet poison that has come across mine innocent lips! Yes, the subpoena, I have him for this trial, with the doctor's permission, naturally. Hearing the testimony of the aggrieved will remove any room for doubt from the jurors' minds, I'm sure. Behold, you have only to arrange the letters of my name to see that me sereth an angel indeed. Thus I be noble of mind, sweet of nature, and fairly honest of heart, as heavenly angels be.
Oh my gosh. He's saying you can respell his name to say Mies a serif.
Okay. Because there isn't any less contrived meaning in your name. Nope, not at all.
But that doesn't even make sense. It does not even proper English. Mies a serif. The juror seems to be very moved by this man. I'm afraid.
They're actually taking his serif anagram idea seriously?
So his name means Mia Serif, so...
Thank you, witnesses, for your illuminating introductions.
But my lord, what's the man next to Mr. Shamsphere doing here? The gas man, I mean.
What, me? Well now, allow me to enlighten my learned friend. You recall, I presume, earlier, impertinence, yes. When you suggested that the victim had another visitor to his room on the night in question. And moreover, that the victim is a compulsive liar.
What? No, I didn't quite say that.
This young chin stroker is here to convert your wild claims conclusively, yes. Is that not so, Mr. Meterman?
Hang on. No, I'm just here to,
He checks the gas and his name is Meterman? Yep, totally correct.
Yeah, it's a play on words, you guys.
Yeah, it's weird.
I hereby call for your formal testimonies. You will tell the court as much as possible what happened on the night in question.
Alright.
One may smile and be a villain. Yes, it doth pain me, but let me tell the spoken truth, the truth of that wintry night of my discontent.
Wasn't that just last night?
Okay.
Maybe the meter man did it because he was just sick of that guy being weird.
Yeah, maybe.
The wintry night of my discontent.
What's everyone's favorite kind of tea in the chat? Mine is probably ginger or green tea.
I like green or chamomile.
The snow lay about. My neighbor did cometh in the evening bearing a gift of tea. But merry, bitter was this drink, and then he left. I did fall prostrate on my table. Alas! 'Twas the tea alone did pass my lips that late hour, not else.
I was outside this bloke's window in the freezing cold all night, keeping an eye on his room. No one ever visited his room but that short little round-backed Eastern fella.
Wait, that's it? That's the entire testimony? Wait, what did you just say? You were keeping an eye on Mr. Shamspeare's room all night?
Why would you be?
That's right. Of course, the bloke's window is all but blocked up, isn't it? But there's a little gap in the bricks where you can see into the room. So I spent the night trying to keep my teeth from chattering as I peered in through that.
Why were you doing
The question is, sir, why? Well now, that's because he's on my list.
What a piece of work is a man! Wherefore wouldst thou not stare in wonderment of eye?
Oh my gosh.
What are you even talking about?
This buzzing busybody hath not part in this play. I pray thee, pay him no heed. Make no more ado about his tedious words.
What do you say about me? Calm yourself. This is not the opera or the stage, my friend. Your acting is so bad. The court is concerned with what happened on the night in question, not your terrible portrayal of Shakespeare. Nothing more, nothing less. Indeed, that is so. And the testimony we just heard clearly reveals there was no other person, the accused present at the time, who could have carried out this crime.
This guy is super annoying.
Well then, I believe this may be the final testimony of the trial. Now, Consul, the defense may proceed with the cross-examination.
Yes, my lord. Okay.
Oh, this guy. Oh, the snow lay about on my neighbor, or something.
To be clear, by neighbor you're referring to the defendant, Mr. Natsumi, correct?
Oh, indeed, sire.
Perchance thou wouldst thou call him the man from upstairs? And what time did this mustached Japanese visit your room? Our meeting was promised for the hour of 9, and lo did he come to tender a gift of fragrant tea.
That was nice of him.
Details which are in accordance with the defendant's own testimony. Yes, great, wonderful.
And we were broiled in such a literary debate as history hath not seen before! By which I presume he means,
Their discussion about who was stronger, Romeo or Juliet.
I, Shamspeare, did play the part of Romeo, whilst my neighbour played the fair Juliet. Each of us dressed as we would our characters to bring weight upon our merry experiment.
I dare not imagine the scene is my mind because there is so much wrong with it.
So they were LARPing.
Yes, LARPing. Thy name is woman. Canst thou imagine how dismayed I was? Yes, I'd heard of the Eastern art of Jujitsu, but never did I dream it would be a skill practiced by the commonly maiden. Juliet beat Romeo up? This is not helping our case at all.
He got beat up by Juliet.
I believe the court has heard enough about your earth-shattering debate. Perhaps you could reiterate your statement about the tea that the accused brought to your room. My liege, I am thy servant. Gladly I would do thy bidding. But merry bitter was this drink, and when it left, I fell prostrate on my table.
Oh my gosh.
Let me stop you right there. Mr. Natsumi left your room at 11 o'clock, but it wasn't until after 2 that morning that the poison made you collapse. That amounts to more than 3 hours of missing time.
Dude, that amounts to 3 hours of missing time.
If the defendant had really put the poison into your tea, that 3-hour window of time is something you're gonna have to explain. Gladly. 'Tis an easy task.
What kind of dance is he doing?
What? I did drink of the tea, not while my guest did tarry, but after he took leave of me.
That is not true.
Faith, 'twas stone cold, but at an hour past midnight, verily were my lips parched.
Objection.
No, you guys drink it together. You're lying.
That doesn't sound normal. Nay, 'twas quite ordinary, sire. After all, thou wouldst recall our fiery debate. Amidst such argument, there'd be no time for fiery tea. Romeo and Juliet again. Oh, who was the stronger? I gotta know.
Mr. Shams...
Ah, my gosh.
Mr. Shamspeare.
Mr. Shamspeare, in summary, allow me to confirm. Did you not come here with the intention of naming your attacker?
But of course, my liege. 'Twas the stooped lover of words did attempt to scuffle me off this mortal coil. We all know what that means. 'Twas the tea alone that did passeth my lips.
Hold it!
Hold it!
Oh my gosh.
So...
So, why didn't you have any kind of evening meal, dinner or supper? Ha! Fire on luxury, fire fee on gluttony. To eat twice daily is but a waste of time. Sorry. I would not my belly were full. What? I would that my belly were full no more than the sun doth rise.
Well, most heroic eating habits, I must say.
Night and day I do fill my hours with learned study of the great bard of the playwright. Hence it is that where doth not in my chamber but then costumes of mine art. What?
I don't even understand what he's saying.
That would appear to be the case, and even a rodent has found starved to death in their room.
Now that I think of it, it's not just food that was conspicuously missing from that room, is it? I don't recall seeing a single play or script anywhere.
For I have devoured them all, dear lady.
He ate the paper.
You've eaten them?
Yeah.
Every word. By within my skull, didst thou imagine otherwise? Right, that wasn't misleading at all. Now, could you turn around, do you think?
Which brings us to the conclusion that only way the poison could have passed the victim's lips is in the tea. Ha! Huh. I was outside this bloke's window in the freezing cold all night, keeping an eye on the room.
Hold it!
But the window of that house had been filled in.
A historical artifact of the now defunct window tax.
Yeah, you're right there. All bricked up horribly, but as it happens, there's a little part of the brickway at the bottom of the corner that's been opened up. I was looking in through that gap.
Yes, there were a few more bricks loose, weren't there?
And for some strange reason, a couple of bars of soap lined up on the ledge of the outside as well.
I don't like going around poking my chin in other people's business, especially on freezing cold nights such as that. But them's my orders, so that's what I'll do, keeping as long as there's still breath in me body.
Okay. What's with all this theatrics today?
Out of the interest of my meter man, after the accused had left and returned to his own house, did you see the victim leave the room at all? Nope, he never did. He was in the room the whole time as far as I'm concerned. And we can therefore discount the possibility of suicide.
Huh? How can you be so sure of that?
The police carried out a thorough investigation of the scene and found no thing of poison. And since we know the victim didn't leave his room and hence didn't dispose of the poison's container himself, it's clear that this was no attempted suicide. Only the culprit could have removed the receptacle. Yes. Very well explained, Consul. Thank you.
It really was. You can't argue with the logic, I suppose.
No one's visited a room by short little round whatever. What?
Hold it!
Alright. You say a little round-backed Eastern fella, so I'm sure you mean the defendant then.
Objection!
What does it matter? How many other short-lived round-backed Japanese with mustache do you think there are in London?
Wow.
Well, of course, it's only a narrow gap. It was quite dark, so I didn't notice the mustache. But he showed up at around 9, so I'm pretty sure of myself.
And then the person you saw arrive, did he and Mr. Shamspear drink tea together?
Nah, sorry, I couldn't say.
Why not?
Because I couldn't see into the room all that well, could I? But what I did see was a silhouette of that little backed fella wearing a pretty dress. Then the pair of them started some kind of wrestling match, I'll tell you. I didn't know what to make of it.
I suppose that was the Romeo and Juliet championship battle getting underway.
This is so weird.
Mortal Kombat.
Round 1, fight! Mr. Meterman, allow me to confirm one final time. Apart from the accused, can you state with certainty that no one else visited the victim that night in question?
Oh, no question. Gasman's honor.
Why are you staring?
Whoa. Who said hold it now? What?
My lord! Goodness me, yes, Mr. Foreman. I've kept my mouth shut and listened up to now, but this has gone on long enough. Are you all with me? Are we to understand that the ladies and gentlemen of the jury are in agreement with one another? That you've reached a unanimous decision? Too right we have. Are you all with me?
Wait, no! The defense is in the middle of a cross-examination.
To be honest, I was holding out for a bit of hope for you, young man. Especially after you identified those few hours that followed the accused leaving the victim's room.
Yes, the 3 missing hours, as you put it.
But in the end, what difference do they make? None, as far as I can see.
And since that's now apparent, there's no reason to delay our decision any longer.
Oh, like I was saying before, I don't have 5 bob home with me tonight, and Mrs. will blow her top, throw things at me.
What's that? Sorry. Didn't quite catch what anyone was saying.
Right then, very well. Let the court be apprised by your decisions, please. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will state your leanings as to the defendant's, Oh no. Oh gosh.
Oh, wow.
Guilty. Guilty. Guilty.
Oops.
Yeah, but we're in the middle of our cross-examination.
That's impossible. How can they do that?
All of you?
That's so
Well,
wrong.
it would appear that the jury is indeed unanimous. Whoopsies. Yes, let me drink my wine.
Summation examination. Exactly.
So,
OH.
this is the time at last. It seems the justice will be done. All's well ends well, as they say. This calls for a toast, I feel. To the guilty being punished.
But I'm in the middle of my cross-examination!
Get up, Mr. Naruhodo, please!
Oh, come on!
The trial isn't over yet!
What do you mean, Miss Susie?
What about the information I found in this encyclopedia of British law that I have, that obscure right that belongs to the defense in these situations, remember?
Oh, right.
He doesn't want to do it.
Summation examination. Yeah, that's right. We don't have a jury in Japanese courts, of course. But here in British law, yep, reverse the decisions, but we're in the middle of a cross-examination. We can be a force the trial to continue, I suppose. Oh, here we go again. This trial can't end now. Whatever it takes, I just can't let that happen. The defense moves to invoke its right to summation examination, my lord.
Yeah!
Why am I not surprised at my learned friend's inability to admit defeat? You chose to cling desperately to some archaic rule you barely comprehend instead of accepting the truth. Certainly no other defense counsel in recent times has exercised the right to summation examination, because they all know that once the jury's mind is set, it cannot be altered. Nevertheless, the right remains and must be upheld. All right, the defense may now request it's granted. The court will proceed with the summation examination as outlined in the Encyclopedia British Law.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right then, are you and your fellows prepared, Mr. Foreman?
Believe me, my lord, we know all about this young lad's tenacity. And we're ready for it.
Very well. In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I hereby call upon each of you to state the grounds upon which you find the defendant guilty of the crime for which he stands accused.
Thank you for being a fan, Luigi.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, guys, we have to be careful of F-bombs and other certain things in the chat, so although there's some swearing allowed, please be careful of certain words that could get us in trouble.
The victim may not be well off it, but he's a nobleman and straight up. There's no reason to doubt the man.
Well, I do declare the good gentleman has no reason to lie. In fact, I think he's rather splendid.
Just look at the accused by comparison. He's Japanese, stoops all that while, and has a mustache. Very fishy.
What?
Wow!
That's your reason?
Wow. Prejudice much?
There's no evidence to suggest the gangling actor is a fraudsman, for now at least.
Oh, I really don't care, like. I just need to end this trial quickly.
Wow.
3 hours of missing time is nothing. When you reach my age, you know, I lose track of time all the time.
Oh my gosh. Oh. I knew it! Every single one of them seems completely convinced!
You guys are fine. You didn't know.
Yeah, you're fine.
You guys, if you guys don't know, it's fine. You guys don't have to feel bad.
Yep, okay.
It would seem that all the jurors have come to the conclusion that Mr. Shamsphere is a fine, upstanding, and honest citizen.
If you ask me, they've all been bewitched by the strange theatrical movements. And sadly... Oh, that's you.
And sadly, nothing Mr. Natsume has said appears to have registered at all.
Well, here goes. Let's not forget. I've pleaded with the juror on Sozaki-san's behalf before, and it worked, so you never know. Oops.
Before we begin, it might be an idea for you to remind exactly how a summation examination works, Mr. Naruhodo.
Read that again.
It might be a great idea for me to remind you exactly how a summation examination works, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh, I completely forgot.
Well, you're still very new to British law after all.
That's true, I suppose. And Sozaki-san's fate is entirely in my hands now, too. There's always a chance I might have forgotten some crucial details from the last game. Perhaps I should hear Susie out. I wonder, should I let her talk me through it again, or not bother? No need.
Refresh my memory!
No! Thank you for the kind offer, Susie, but I know how to do a summation examination.
I like talking to you, and I want you to listen for an hour, Ryunosuke.
No. But I've been through plenty of these summation examinations already now. I think it's important that we don't delay it and start any longer than necessary.
Of course, I understand, and I'm quite sure that you're right, Ryunosuke. If you're confused by anything at any point, you can always turn to me for advice, and I will do the entire tutorial for you again. I'll be here for you whenever you want an hour of your time wasted.
The key to this is really listening carefully to each juror's statement. Finding two that are contradictory and pitting the corresponding jurors against each other.
Without further ado, Consul, proceed with the summation examination, please.
This is gonna be hard.
Yes, my lord.
It must be hard for Ryunosuke, to be honest. Hearing them talk about that guy being Japanese and how he's shady, and he's Japanese.
Yeah, I know.
It must be really hard for him to hear them say that.
The victim may not be well off, but he's a nobleman.
Oh, wait. I remember. We already have a problem. There were two jurors that basically just don't care. So, this foreman, number one, followed by...
That guy says he
I don't
doesn't
really care. I just need to end this trial quickly.
Objection.
Those two statements are fundamentally at odds with one another.
My lord, as a foreman of the jury, I must object.
What?
Being their leader, it's my duty to stand up for all jurors here present, and stand for them I will. I concur with the foreman, Consul, I warn you. I shan't abide any...
Oh, whoopsies. Whoops.
Well, I guess that didn't work out.
No, that didn't work.
Until you got your facts straight, keep your pointy fingers to yourself.
Oh, whoops. I thought I did.
We're trying to find inconsistencies in these jurors' statements, Mr. Naruhodo. Not two jurors that both have a wrong opinion. The key is to comparing the different things they say before attempting to pit them against each other.
Alright. I'll have another go.
I'll have another go at it. That's such a cute British phrase.
The victim may not be well off, but he's a nobleman, and straight up, there's no reason for the man to doubt. And we'll do more tomorrow.
Aww.
Cliffhanger!
What?
Yep, this trial's gone on long enough. Cliffhanger, you'll have to come back tomorrow at 4 to see the rest. Aha.
By Jove, he's done it.
Because we have another stream starting up in a half hour. Alright, guys and gals, that does it for today's episode of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Cliffhanger! Yep. You'll have to ponder what happens until tomorrow around 4:15, 4:30, 4:40, whatever. Just a reminder, guys, there was also a YouTube short that went up today, as well as the Black Panther. So you have time to watch both of those before our next stream. Well, not all the Black Panther, but like 5-10 minutes of it should suffice. But, yeah, thanks so much for watching. Thank you to some new people that came by and subscribed that I saw.
Yeah, and also just a heads up, guys and gals, you know, like, if you guys, never mind, it doesn't matter, but just so we know, like, just because, you know, you guys get kind of into it at the beginning of the chat, like an argument or whatever, just know, like, it's not like we don't care, but we have to keep going and keep doing the story. So, like, I understand people's feelings get hurt and stuff, but we can't actually stop the stream to take care of the situation. We have to keep going with the case.
That's the mod's job. Mod's
Yeah,
job.
so just FYI, we can't. It's not like we don't care. We
Yeah,
do.
think of them as bobbies.
So we literally can't. We can't stop. So like for you guys to think, oh, the Kwings don't care about me because they're not handling this. We can't, because we're actually just speaking the characters' parts.
Yeah. All right.
So, yeah. Thank you.
So anyway, people, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Also, leave a comment down below. Tell us what you thought about today's trial. Who was your favorite character that appeared today? And tomorrow is a summation examination, as well as a continue of our cross-examination that was interrupted before we could really do anything.
Yep.
Thank you again, Capcom, for providing a copy of this game. And there is a new Let's Play that starts up in a little while for Bowser Jr.'s Journey.
Ooh, I'm excited about it.
Yes, and Amber will be here to provide the voice of Bowser Jr. So that'll be fun. Yeah.
Bowser Jr.'s
That's
next.
right. That's right.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be pretty cool. And after that is a Ultimate Select stream for our friends Akira, who will be playing Monster Hunter Rise with us tonight, which should be a very interesting time, and that'll be happening around 10 o'clock. And then also I have a podcast on my other channel around 11:40 discussing Titan Season 3, Episode 4 in detail. So it's gonna be a long night for me, but all right, guys, catch you in a little bit, and thank you so much for watching. Excuse me, kitty.
All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys in like 30-40 minutes. God bless. Happy gaming. See ya.